If I get you 100, shawty, you better be doing the same. Ain't no time to play it with you, shawty ain't running no games. If you give me your love and I give you my heart, shawty, I promise to never depart. Real love don't die.
Yo, hey, this is Jasper from OTG TV.
And this is Sebastian from OTG TV.
Let me ask you a question, bro.
What's up?
Do you know what the God's waiting room is?
I feel like I got an idea of what it is.
What is it, you think? What do you think it is?
God's weight room is when you're asking for something, and because the Bible says, ask and you shall receive. It's when you ask for something and you're just not getting it. You feel like God's not listening, he's ignoring you, and you just feel like you should be getting what you're asking for, but you're just not getting it.
Yeah, bro, I feel the same way. I feel like when you're praying and you're asking for something and God's not answering when you want it to happen, that's God's waiting room. Because we all ask for something, but at the same time, we're not patient enough to get it. And we got to realize while we're waiting and praying, God is preparing us. Because most of the time when we ask for things, we're honestly not ready for it. You know what I mean? Like, because I ain't gonna lie, like right now, if I had like $1 million, I would blow that in one day. Hey, I would blow that money in one day.
I know at further thoughts you realize that I am one of a kind.
So like, when you're praying and praying, you gotta realize when God's not answering, you gotta realize that he's not answering for a reason. But he's answering, but he's not answering when you want to answer. So that doesn't mean he's being distant.
Answering how you want it.
Yeah, he's not answering how you want to answer yet. But you just have to wait on it. Be patient. So I have an analogy for you. So when you're in the hospital and you're sick and you're tired and maybe you got hurt and you're in the hospital bed and you're calling for the nurse and you're pressing the button calling for a nurse. You don't know when that nurse is going to come. You feel me? Like he or she can come 10, 15 minutes later, maybe 30, and you're in pain the whole time. You're just waiting. But when the nurse actually comes, what do? You wait for the answer. You don't tell him what you're going to do to get better. You wait for the answer from the nurse because he knows what he's doing. So it's the same thing with faith. You got to have the same faith and trust in God that he knows what he's doing.
Do you get discouraged when you're in God's waiting room and you feel like he's not listening?
Honestly, yeah. I find myself discouraged sometimes. But now I'm far enough in my walk of faith that I can realize when I'm getting discouraged because I'm being impatient. And I realize that I need to be patient. Because Proverbs chapter 3, verse 5 and 6, it says, trust in the Lord with all your heart and do not lean on your own understanding. So whenever I feel myself slipping into the hole that I'm getting discouraged because I'm praying, I always remember that verse. And I remember I can't lean on my own understanding. Because most of the time, when you lean on your own understanding, whatever you're in, whatever you're going through, always gets worse because you're leaning on your own understanding. You're not trusting in God, like the word says. You know what I mean? So, like, growing up, I would get discouraged because I'm very impatient, and I'm still impatient. I still wish for things, and I still pray for things that I want, and I'm not getting it right now. But at this point, I realize, like, everything that happens is in God's plan. So whatever you don't get, either it's coming or you're not getting it for a reason. And God has a plan for that, and God has a reason why you're not getting it. So I realize that everything that happens for a reason. So I can't let nothing get to me for real. What do you think? Like, do you be discouraged in God's waiting room?
I feel like I'll be a little discouraged, but it's just like it's the point where I'm just impatient, and I want things.
Bro, we both. Hey, bro.
What I want.
We both impatient, bro.
Yeah, I just want things now. I have a good job. Can this business start?
Yeah, bro. Yeah.
Need some money. I need a better car.
Nah, hey, something to practice too. When I get discouraged and I be praying and it's not coming my way, I always say I will trust. Like, I will trust.
And I will.
And that reminds me, and whenever I'm feeling down, I will trust. I say it out loud, like, I will trust. Because it reminds me, like, yo, trust in God. Like, don't lean on your understanding, because trusting in God is the way, like, when you trust in God, things usually happen the way you want to happen. Yeah. But it's not going to happen when you want it to happen all the time. But it's going to happen, and you're going to realize later on down in the road, maybe 5 years later, maybe 2 years later, maybe a day later, why God didn't allow it to happen. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
when bad things happen in my life, I should be thinking God's got a plan.
Yeah, God got a plan for everything.
There's a reason that happened. There's a better thing coming.
Yeah, it's a better thing coming, or whatever is happening is going to come. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. That's just like in the Bible when Abraham wanted a child at about 75 years old. God promised him a child, and he didn't get a child until he was about 100 years old.
Yeah.
But his faith never weakened. His faith stayed the same.
Yeah, his faith was still strong.
And he figured at the age of 100, him and Sarah's bodies would be as good as dead. That's what they said, word for word.
And he still had a child.
He still had a child at 100 years old. So he got it, but not on his time, but on God's time.
So so that just shows that whenever you're praying, whenever God promised you something, it's going to happen for sure. Just because it doesn't happen when you want it to happen
doesn't mean it won't happen.
When do you wait? How long do you wait?
25
years.
For a child.
Now imagine just waiting 25 years for what if your mom promised you $10 or some money and you wait 25 years for it? You're going to be mad. You're going to be mad, tore up about your mom. Yeah, you're going to be tore up.
You can keep that $10.
But that story you just told me actually reminds me of a story in the Bible about David. I recall the prophet Samuel had anointed David to be the next king. But it took David 13 years to actually fill the spot of king. And during that 13 years, David was actually taking care of his father's sheep. So imagine that feeling of knowing that you're going to be a king.
Knowing it's coming.
Yeah, you're knowing it's coming, but you're waiting 13 years. You're taking care of sheep. But if you think about it,
that's how God's faith is.
That's how God's faith is. And if you think about it, it's like David is taking care of his father's sheep, knowing that he's going to be king. But what if God was just testing him and seeing if he can take care of sheep before he can take care of God's people? True. You know what I mean? So sometimes, like I said before, God is honestly preparing us. Like while we're waiting.
That's a really good one.
While we're waiting, God's preparing us, just like David.
And testing us.
He's testing us, yeah. But we be so far into the destination that we can't enjoy the journey. But God is really focused on the journey. Like God is focused on our journey.
On the destination.
Yeah.
God's focused on the journey.
The only thing we see is the end point. But God is really focusing on our journey. Because during the journey, God is preparing us for something greater. He's molding us into something greater. He's molding us into the person that we need to be to receive the blessing that you're asking for. During
the journey, when you're in the waiting room, and you're feeling like God's cheating you and he's not listening and you're not getting the things you want, the devil, first off, the devil will tempt us to believe many different things.
Yeah, the devil will tempt us.
But one of the things he'll tempt you to believe is that God's cheating you and he doesn't want you to have the things you want. But that's just, sometimes your emotions will talk louder to you than the word of God will talk to you.
Yeah, that's true, bro. That's true. Also, something that I realized is sometimes what you're praying for is taking longer because what God has in store for you is way much bigger and way much rewarding than what you're asking for. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So sometimes, it keeps going back to God is preparing you because you might be praying for something little, but God got something big in store for you. You feel me?
Yeah.
So you just gotta be patient at the end of the day. The truth of the matter is, we're all not perfect.
No.
We all have struggles and we all struggle with something. And it's always going to be hard for you to trust in God. I know people now that's farther in their walk of faith than us. And they're still not putting all their trust in God. Still struggling. And when things get hard, they're still leaning on their own understanding. And they're worrying. I ain't gonna lie, I'm a worrier. I be worrying all the time about things. But recently I've been praying and I've just been asking God to help me with my worrying problem because we all have a worry. We all worry. So it's
yeah, that's the thing. The more you worry, the more you should pray too.
Yeah, the more you worry. When worry comes in your head, prayer should come in your head too. You know what I mean? When worry strikes, pray. That's the easiest thing. And a prayer don't gotta be long. A prayer can just be, Lord help me. Lord, you can say Lord.
And that's what he said. Lord says to give all your burdens to him and give all your worries to him.
Yeah, so at the end of the day, when you're worrying, give that to God. And I know it's hard. I know it's hard. And I know people probably see us right now and they bro, these dudes is lying. They know what we do. They know y'all know what we used to do. We ain't perfect at the end of the day.
Girl, I wanna get you in the mood, so let me lead you to it. And I like the way your body.
At the end of the day, we both pray and we both have changed. Also, another thing that I see a lot is jealousy and envy. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So I see a lot of people our age. I hear it all the time. They're jealous of somebody else because they have more than them. But what we gotta realize is that what has our name on it is coming to us and it's going with nobody else. So maybe they were granted or blessed with that. But like we keep saying, maybe we're not ready for that. Maybe you're not ready for that. So you have to have faith that it's coming. And if it don't come, it's for a reason. It's a reason why it's not coming. So really, when I'm in the waiting room, I'm always I feel like we're never gonna get out the waiting room. because it's always gonna be something we're praying for and asking. Yeah, you always gonna be asking for something. You always gonna be praying for something. You always want more with your life, and if you don't, then that's a problem. But always keep a good attitude through the waiting room, because when you're in the waiting room with a good attitude, I feel like it goes by faster, and you're gonna realize that the attitude is what helps you. Honestly, it's like if you have a bad attitude, you're gonna be struggling the whole time through the waiting room. And
you having a bad day at work.
You having a bad day.
That day lasts a long time.
Yeah, a bad day at work lasts a long time if you realize that. But when you productive and you moving, that joint go fast, right? It go fast and it's good.
Yeah, we all have bad days. We all have good days.
Yeah.
We all go through things that don't make sense, and it's easy to live frustrated and to think to God, why
yeah, like why us? Yeah, why me? Why me? Yeah, like all the time. Why me?
But the truth is, we aren't going to understand why everything happens.
Yeah.
Because God's ways aren't our ways. Yeah, He sees things we can't see.
Oh, Jeremiah 29:11. It says, God has plans for you to be prosperous. God has hope for you, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So it's like whenever I get down in a bad mood, I always realize that God has plans for us to be prosperous. You know what I mean? Yeah. Man, and then lastly, to wrap up, it's like at the end of the day, we all got a choice. God gives us the opportunity to choose whether if we're going to trust into His system or the world system. But one thing that's different about His system and the world system is that God's system is never going to fail. You feel me? Like God promises He's never going to fail us because He has plans to prosper for us. You know what I mean? So God will never fail you. But the world systems are planned to fail. Like
always fail you.
If you trust into the world, you're going to fail 100%. And that's not guessing. That's guaranteed. You're going to fail because the world is not meant for us to put our trust into.
Yeah, God,
trust is going to God.
God has your best interest in mind.
Yeah, God has the best interest in mind.
God always wants the best for you, and He makes rules. Sometimes you'll feel like, why can't I do this? But in the end, it's for your own good.
Hey, y'all. Thanks for tuning in. This OTG TV right here. Episode 1. Are you in God's waiting room? Always remember, God gives you a choice. Are you going to choose God's systems or the world systems? The world systems are planned to fail. God will never fail you. Yes, sir. We out.
Yes, sir.
If I get you 100, shawty, you better be doing the same. Ain't no time to play it with you, shawty ain't running